Hello students, once again I welcome you again. So in this class today, uh, I will be discussing about the same topic that we have already discussed in the previous class. Today in this class we will see the last part of chapter 4 of chapter 4 from the supplementary reader. So we have seen that how the Sophie he has been trying to go where uh, in the island. So but he failed every time. So again here you see in the last part also he tried. He will try again, and what it will happen. Let's see. Okay. He fed up and very sad, and then he came to another cop who was standing. Cop means the policeman. He came to another policeman standing just in front of a very big theater. And the Sophie, what he did, Sophie, he thought of doing something else to try, so that he can get a chance to go in an island. Now, what he did, he began to shout as if he had too much to drink, as if he had to show that he had too much drink, he had too much to drink, and his voice also was as loud as he could make it. And what he did, he danced there, he cried out, and then what the cop, the policeman, he turned his back to Sophie. He was looking at Sophie and said, the man who was standing near Sophie, it's one of those college boys. Okay, he was just one of college boys. He won't hurt anything. He won't hurt anybody. So he also added by saying that they have orders to let them shout. For the policemen, they have said them to let them shout. So they are just a college boy. They won't hurt anyone or anything. So now Sophie was quiet. By doing so much things, even like the cop was not arresting him. So was no cop going to touch him? He was thinking, is there no cop that who would come and touch him? Now he began to think of the island as if it were so far away from, like as a star. It was very very far, like stars. For him, the island is very far. So he pulled his thin coat, okay, around him. Then the wind was very cold that very moment. Then he saw a man. He saw he saw a man who was in a shop, and he was buying newspapers. Then the man's umbrella, it stood beside the door, and Sophie stepped inside the shop, and he took away the umbrella of that man who was buying something in that, buying a newspaper. So he took slowly. Okay. Then the man, he followed him quickly. The man, he followed him quickly, and he was saying, by running or by following, he was saying that it's my umbrella, it's my umbrella. Then the Sophie said, oh, is it? It's yours. Why don't you call a cop? I took it, your umbrella. Why don't you call a cop? There is one standing at the corner. Now he was showing he was telling to that man who was following him that he should call a cop, he should call a police, so that the police will arrest him. And he was also showing that persons that the policeman is standing on the corner. You just go and call that policeman and arrest me, he was saying to that man. If this umbrella is his, then the man walked more slowly. Now Sophie did the same. Now, but he had a feeling that he was going to fail again. The cop looked at the two men. The Sophie again had a feeling that again he will fail this time also. And the policeman, he was there somewhere. He looked at the two men, and I, said the man, said the umbrella man, that is, you know how these things happen? If that's your umbrella, I am very sorry. I found it this morning in a restaurant. If you say it's yours, I hope you will be. So he said, the Sophie said, it's mine, it is not yours. So, with anger in his voice. Now the umbrella man, he hurried away. The cop helped a lady who was across the street. So the cop was not looking at all now at these two person. Sophie walked east. He walked east. Okay, so he took the umbrella also, and the cop, he did nothing to Sophie also. He threw the umbrella as far as he could throw it. He threw afterwards. No, his main aim to steal that umbrella, so that the cop will come and arrest him, and he would go in the jail to so that he would stay 3 months in the island. So that was all his plan was, but it was fail. He failed this times also. So what is the use of that umbrella for him? So he threw it, and he walked east. So he threw umbrella as far as he could. He talked to himself about the cops, and he was just thinking. He thought of them then, because he wished to be arrested. No, what was his wish? His wish to be arrested. Then they seemed to believe he was like a king who could do no wrong. He had a belief now. He was like a king. He was like a king. Why? Whatever he does or he did the wrong thing, no one would do anything. No one would come and arrest him. So at last Sophie came to one of the quiet street. It was very quiet on the side of the city, very quiet, not much crowd. So he turned here and began to shout towards Madison Square. Now he was going home, although home was only a seat in a park. His home, he did not have home, but the only home was to sit in a park. That was his home. So he was going there. But at a very quiet corner somewhere, Sophie stopped in that city. When he was coming towards his park, he stopped there, and here what he remember his childhood home, and that street he found his childhood home. He remember, and through one window he could see a soft light shining. That had been his living room, where he had spent many happy, peaceful moments. Sweet music came to Sophie's ears and seemed to hold him there. The moon was above, peaceful and bright. There were few people passing. He could hear birds high above him, and the music that came from the room had held the Sophie there. Now, for he had known it well long ago. In those days, his life, when he remembered his life, he remembered that his life contained such things like as mothers and flowers and high hopes and friends and clean thoughts and clean clothes. He was not like how he is present. He was not like before. He was totally a different person. But now the things had made him change. There was a sudden and wonderful change in his soul. He saw with sick fear how he had fallen. He saw his worthless days, his wrong desires, his dead hopes, the lost power of his mind. Now, all these things had changed his soul. And also, in a moment, his heart answers this change in his soul. He would fight to change his soul. He would pull himself up out of the mud. He would make a man of himself again. Now, at this very moment, he again thought that, no, this is the moment, this is the time that I should change myself. No, I should change my soul. I should fight for it to change my life. I should pull myself up out of this mud, no. So he would try to make himself again how he was before. So there was time he was young enough, he would find his old purpose in life and follow it. There was a time the sweet music had charged him. Tomorrow he would find. So what comes to his mind after remembering his past things, his childhood days, and the thought it comes that he would change his souls, he would change his mind, everything, he would become a good person now. He would think that tomorrow I would go and find out a good work. And he also remember that once a person he had offered him a job, and he would first find that person. That person he would be somebody. What he would find that persons to the next day, and he would be somebody in the world, he would be somebody. But now he is leaving that he is nothing for the world, he is no use for the world, no. So he thought that he would be somebody in the world, he was just thinking. Sophie felt a hand on his arm. Now when he was thinking all these things, he felt huge hands on his arm, and he looked quickly around into the broad face of a cop. He found a cop who was keeping his cop's hands on the arms of the Sophie. Then he asked, "What, you are hanging here around here?" The cop asked these questions to Sophie. "Nothing, Sophie," he said. Then the cop said, "Do you think that I should believe you by saying this?" Then the cop, of his full of his new strength, Sophie began to argue. He began to argue that he had not done anything. He was just sitting there. He was just wondering. He was trying to say this. He was arguing with the cop, but it was not wise to argue with the new cop. It was not wise. If you are going to argue with them, then it was no use. So, "Come along," said the cop. He had taken Sophie, and he said that 3 months prison on Blackwell's Island, said the judge to Sophie next morning. So after taking this Sophie by the cop, the next morning the judge said that Sophie has 3 months prison in Blackwell's Island. So finally, when he thought that everything he would change, he would become a good person, so that very moment, and when he had not done anything wrong, the cop came and arrested him. So this is what about these lessons. So I hope you have understood, and this is very interesting. So how the things it got different, it's what we plan, it totally goes in opposite. What plan he had before to go in an island, and he tried so many things to go, but every time he failed, just opposite of that. And what he did, the policeman or the cop, they were not at all, they believed on him when he said that it was done by him. No cop believed him, but at the end he had not done anything, but the policemen, they came and arrested him and a prison on Blackwell's Island for 3 months. That punishment he now got. So this is all about these lessons. I hope you have understood. So stay at home, read the book. So today this much only. Thank you very much.